It's a show of propaganda. It's just this is a theater. There is no public support for the for annexing, for actually joining Russia. It's all fake. It's been the so-called referendums. They were done at a gunpoint, and we've seen how it was organized. So there is, I mean, there is no validity in anything, in any of that. It doesn't change anything for us. It doesn't change anything for the West. It's again a confirmation that Russia is there for a long time, and it's important that there is our allies and friends continue supporting us and actually sending more weapons to Ukraine, because what Russia is doing, nobody is recognizing. Even the Secretary General of the UN made a very strong statement about this illegal annexation of new territories in Ukraine. For Ukrainians, nothing changes. We are there on a mission to liberate Ukraine, to evict the Russians from Ukraine, and restore our sovereignty back to 1991, which also includes Crimea and all the 4 regions which Russia has now announced that it annexed.
This echoes Russia's annexation of Crimea back in 2014, where it's controlled by Russia, but that's not internationally recognised. Do you think these areas face that same future?
No, I believe we will repel the Russians, we will restore our sovereignty, and we have the motivation. It now all depends on our friends, including Australia, if we can get enough weapons and equipment to be able to evict the Russians from Ukraine.
Once this process is complete, Russia will be able to claim national self-defense, and therefore with any military operations, what does that mean for the battle for Ukraine?
It doesn't really change anything. Russia has deployed 150,000 troops into Ukraine in February of this year. So they already employed all the army they have, and now they are mobilizing more troops to send to Ukraine. So technically it doesn't really change much. Of course, there is a nuclear threat, and there is a threat that Russians may use and resort to technical nuclear weapons. Of course, it's going to change the theater of war, and we take it seriously. Nevertheless, it's important for our allies to keep on sending modern weapons, multiple rocket launchers, modern air defense systems, long-range missiles.
Yes, there is this heightened threat of a nuclear response, and you say that Ukraine is taking that seriously, but forging ahead anyway with this battle?
Yes, absolutely, because the motivation of the Ukrainian soldiers and the will of the Ukrainian people is to restore Ukraine's sovereignty and make sure that the integrity of Ukraine is revived. And we have to free the people who are now under the Russian occupation and who are suffering a great deal.
The West has labelled this a sham. The US says that it will impose more sanctions, will have more measures as well from the EU. What more would you like to see from the international community?
It's very important that international community stays united. It's important that our friends help us expand the coalition and go into other regions. And Ukrainian government has asked the Australian government to help us in the Pacific and here in Southeast Asia as well, in engaging with the partners in the region, because we need to have a big coalition supporting Ukraine in our fight for freedom and democracy.
What is your eventual hope for these 4 areas?
My eventual hope is that we will free the Ukrainian people, will restore the sovereignty of Ukraine, will join the European Union, will join NATO, and will build a bright future for the next generation of Ukrainians.